Good evening, guys. Let me go get this out on the in the Twitch chat. Okay. Uh, and I'm hoping that I've managed to cut down a bunch of the echo. So I don't know if you guys can hear it. You probably can't hear it over the whoosh, but do 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 do. How are you, Internet? I am so far behind schedule today. Having one of those mad dashes to actually do what needs doing. But we're up on live and everything's showing up and chats are up and all that jazz, so we can at least do that much. Even if I'm not very good at all of this. How are you, Internet? We're starting a little bit early tonight, I know. But that is because I was at my computer, everything was set up. Thought I'd at least get you start looking at my beautiful face. I know how much you guys yearn for it week after week. Yeah, I don't know if I can go full Matani over here. With smug and spinning like a hurricane, right round, baby, right round. But I really should put a picture up. So let's see if I can go pull it out of my stream real quick. Did do an upgrade to the battle station, the recording studio. Thanks to our patrons for making this possible. We have sound tiling up and a curtain to help deaden the noise. So I'm hoping that we start to sound a little bit better in here. It definitely looks like MLG Pro Streamer in here, so I got to thank the patrons for the help on getting that. There's still a couple more pieces due to come in. Got some studio monitors. Those were more a birthday present to myself. And then more of the tiling so I can finish what I intend to do back here. So it's starting to actually look like a little bit of a studio in here. Got to run over to the IKEA this weekend to go put a desk in for the wife and some shelving back there so she can have all her crafty stuff. So I don't get yelled at for my side being all sexy and her side being a pile of boxes. But we'll get there. We're almost there. Really should get another set of the ship prints from Rick's Javix. Really? It's not me. Because everything should be broadcasting like normal. You know, it's not super helpful for me to be like, it's not me. So, yeah. How have you been, Internet? I am hurrying. I'm going as fast as I can. Fuel blocks. And then nitrogen, because I love nitrogen on the 45-day view. Oops. You actually doing the thing? Oh, that's why it's not doing the thing. Because there isn't a thing. And then we come down here and we get strontium, which just keeps on climbing and making me look like an asshole. I love that. Awesome. Kill all of those. Add one of those. Change it to that. Kill all of these. Stop hitting caps lock. Add that. Go get these. We want ships first. CKP 90. Ships. Okay. We've got ships, we've got regions, and then we got systems. Really should bring that into 60 days instead of 90. But it's too late to do the poll again. Sweet. All right. Next, we got to bring in the... Yeah, and I've been having some weird issues on my side, but if nobody else is getting them, then I don't know. Though I did get a retweet from the infamous Circle Jerks, so I really appreciate that. It's one of my favorite character names in all of Eve. Oops, that's not the folder with that. Nope, that's not the one either. That's the one. We want advanced materials. We're going to want bombers. Oh, we're going to want PI4s. We're going to want bombers. Ah, that's finally starting to look like it's supposed to. Interceptors, what do they look like? Yep. Let's put those in. Let's put this one. We want... we got to go through the advanced materials. We've got... Entosis. What does Entosis look like? Entosis is still going nuts, which is great. Entosis. Interdictors. Fucked up the graph. Need to fix that one. Hacks. We can at least see that it's somewhat interesting. Yeah, let's put that in there. Hacks. And then we'll put the Ishtar and the Cerberus in because I am a super genius who remembered to do the thing right. And the poor, poor Ishtar tanking down. And then we're also going to want the Jyla. There's that one, and then we go into this one, which we see if Blake's thing is actually taking root yet. Nope. He's going to be mad. We're going to want to look at Macarials. That's for certain. With the scales all washed out, but that's fine. Technically have enough, and I don't have to go into flags. That's weird. Never happens. Alright, go into forest, we check moon goo real quick. Cadmium's kind of interesting. Didn't we bring up cadmium last week? I should send that to Ash. Yeah, I'm only broadcasting in 720. Dysprosium is still tanking. Promethium's kind of interesting, even though no. Technetium's fine. Titanium staying high is weird. Vanadium. Okay. Dun 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 dun. Oh, I do have to highlight that though. We're gonna put that in this section, which I think is here, and then we go here, and we go CKB. Poor Reyes. We want to also look at rattlesnake. I don't even want to bring up the rattlesnake. Oh, that's actually really interesting too. We'll put that right after the Macarial. We'll go put the Svipple in there. We need Quaff. And we need geckos. Oh, the illustrious Hibiki. It has been too long, dude. Did you hear I moved to Seattle? Now working in network security, because that's totally an electrical engineer's job. Oh wait, they said I can't tell you guys that I work for a thing. Should see the thing I had to sign about what to do with my LinkedIn. It was kind of funny. All right, blast that away. Really should go over flags before I go. Oh, we wanted to go back to Colorado, but things got shitty at work, and this was like a dream opportunity. Like, it is... I can't even put into words how amazing the thing is. I get to solve all of my white whales left over from my last job, so... The things that I was told that I was a crazy crazy idiot about. They're like, no, we actually need that. Please make that. So, no, but I'm working with a ton of Microsoft people. The firm's called CrowdStrike. They're little, but they're powerful. So, everybody's trying to. It's really believe in the methodology they're using for antivirus. It's a big data approach and looking for things that trying to understand not just understood threats where you're like, oh, I know exactly what that looks like, but understanding what isn't normal, which I mean is what this show is about. Is this whole thing works because I train the computer to understand what is normal and tell me when things go off the rails. So working with the guy who helped write half of the stuff for the show. So and that's a bowhead. I love the bowhead. I totally need one. I don't know why I don't have... Oh, well, I do have one. I haven't flown it in a while. I want that as a ship model so bad. I want that on my desk. So let's go over the stuff real quick. Just make sure that I get the big flags. So a lot of the stuff that we have worked on and will work on for Prosper mirrors one-to-one with what I'm doing at work, which means I can, if I am good and stay on top of things, I can get these cycles of learning moving pretty quickly. So it should be a very good time to be a dev here. So I know that Diana Olympos, who I hope you guys all voted for, has been kicking my ass to get requirements because they're putting together like 3 or 4 other market things together to try and solve a bunch of our shared problems. Like, we all want the same data, so how do we use similar APIs that are extensible and expandable and that kind of thing. So, which I love because I fucking hate writing scrapers. They're just so soul-sucking and boring. Let's see. Ooh, that's actually interesting. Is the volume interesting? No. Damn it. Sentinels and Templars. And the wife's enjoying it well enough. She was just at Emerald City Comic Con today while I had to go to work all day. So she came home with swag at least. Oops, that's not where that goes. Yes. I'm definitely appreciating the larger town. And the coworkers are cool, and yeah, the job is nice. I like the new job. Stockpiling before citadels. We're going to talk about that. Mostly that you should be looking for places to... looking for exits, basically. If you haven't bought in already, it's a little bit too late, but... Well, not entirely too late, but we'll talk about it in a bit more detail during the show. Citadels has been like my go-to for content for the last while, so we have a lot to talk about. Let me see if I can just finish getting the flags sorted. Prophecies being up is a little weird. This one, Claymores being down is a little bit weird. But the volumes are just absurdly low. And the weather, you know, it's been rather pleasant. In fact, today has been uncharacteristically warm. Everybody was complaining that it got up to 80 today. Customs offices studied out. Yeah, let's put that over here. Though it's a little insufferable, nowhere has AC units. Like they don't come standard with your apartment. So the last couple of hot days have been like, Yep. Oh, no, that's not the same number. You sent it to... No, I don't think you have the same number anymore. Hold on. I'll send you the real number. You guys can call me personally at... Not saying that online. My phone number is 555... That number still got to me. It's just awkward. It's attached to a weird Google phone address, and it's basically so that if anybody ever gets my old resume from college again, they can still contact me. Oh my god, we have a show, and I didn't have to go through the frickin' flags. Alright, guys. I can actually be entertaining now that I'm not trying to multitask. Or somewhat more entertaining. It's going to be a long show. Holy shit. How have you been, Internet? How about that baseball? It's opening week for baseball, right? I only know because my wife's a huge baseball nerd. And that we continue to be out of market from the Rockies, which is a crying shame. Let's see, what else? What else? That's fucking weird. Oh, since we now have everybody in the chat, I can actually send it again. So you guys know where your Patreon money is going. I have been fixing up the studio. it now looks like a studio in here. So let me do. So you guys can go look at it. Hey, at least you're not a Brewers fan, right? Still trying to save up for a couple of new pieces of hardware. Though we're waiting. So the deal for updating the hardware is that I want to put one of the shiny NVMe flash drives in there, right? Expect to can basically get that out of the Patreon money, since we've been saving and not really spending it on much other than the Premiere license lately. The thing about it is that when I do that upgrade, I have to replace the graphics cards. The machine is too tightly packed, and there aren't enough PCIe lanes to leverage the new drives. So the deal is that I buy the graphics card, Patreon pays for the SSD, but Intel and both Intel and AMD are supposed to release their new graphics cards at the end of May, start of June, Computex essentially. And the last thing I want to do is go spend $600 or $800 on a GTX 980 Ti. Just to have the 1080 come out and blow it out of the water for $500 like the 980s did when I bought my 760s. I'm not repeating that mistake again. So we are in limbo waiting for that. In the meantime, updating the studio so we get the sound panels up. I ordered another box of them to get finished up the top here. Got studio monitors, which just came in today, but that's more of a birthday present to myself out of my own money, so that's not Patreon stuff. We have the shiny mic, of course. That should be up to date there, but I know that I've been neglecting my editing duties on YouTube and in the podcast. And the problem has been that we end this show so late that I haven't had a chance to edit. Like, we get done about 10 o'clock local time, and I'm beat by that. So the words. I was just in the middle of the thought, right? And I totally lost it. That's awesome. Words and stuff. So I'm hoping... Oh, yeah, I remember what I was talking about. Right. So the editing has been falling by the wayside. I got poked by somebody on Tweetfleet Slack this week to talk about some help on the production side. And I'm going to see if I can follow up with him tonight and tomorrow, because he's in European time zone. And if we can bounce the files back and forth, that might help clear up one of the production bottlenecks, because to be honest, we're talking about several hours of the week already sort of taken up by the show. We've got at least an hour on Wednesday night pulling down data. We've got at least an hour of before the camera turns on of setting up the show. We've got about 2 hours of on stream time, and then an hour to an hour and a half of editing is a lot, and it doesn't leave a lot of time for new dev stuff. It doesn't leave a lot of time for anything else at the moment. Now, part of that is that I got to get better at my work-life balance. I am able to get out at a reasonable time, and I need to stop playing so much Rocket League. So that's on me. But the to have basically my whole week critted on a Thursday night is a little tough to deal with. So we're going to see if I can get some help on that, if we can get a workflow going for that. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, well, I'll try to stop being so bad. The other thing I was trying to do is that since I can't get it done on Thursday night, is getting up early on Friday mornings, and I then sleep through my alarm. So anyway, I need to stop playing Rocket League because I've been trying to play ranked, and I'm stuck in Prospect with the biggest assholes in the fucking internet who quit after the first frickin' goal and doubles, and or start playing against themselves because they're dickbags. So I'm getting a little salty and bitter about that game. No, I just need a time decelerator so I can do more work in the same number of hours. That's always been my thing, is that if I get more hours in the day, I would waste them differently. Let's see, what else? We got about 5 more minutes to kill. I guess I can do the opening spiel for newcomers. So, welcome to the Prosper Show. What's going to happen is that the show starts at the top of the hour, which is in about 5 minutes. I go for about 45 minutes. This week might be a little on the long side. And I don't tend to answer questions during the show, but I've got both YouTube and Twitch chat open. I do read them. And we'll do a Q&A after the show, which runs about 30 minutes. If you want to know how the show is made, the graphs are made mostly with R. Actually, all the graphs are made with R. This is stolen, half of it's stolen from CCP Quant, half of it is homebrew stuff. The source should be open on the doobly-doo below, down in the description. But the Eve Central graphs and the Z Killboard graphs, you guys, I don't have a way to give you guys the data that generates those graphs. We need to make an API for it. I need to stop making excuses. Talking with Diana about it as we try to ramp up towards a Prosper website. I'd really like to basically put Eve Market Data out of business if I could. But there's a lot of work that goes between here and there. If we get there, then I'll be pushing out an API. The API would probably look more like Quandle than anything else. The problem is the shape of the data and the size of the data. It is well suited for a SQL solution. The stuff is easy to tabularize. It's easy to search. It's easy to do indexes on. I don't have very good indexes on the EC data, but that's my fault. But to serve that pipeline, I know what kind of dev I was, and I don't know what the fuck my downstairs neighbors are doing. I know what kind of dev I was coming up, and I don't want to serve people like me who have a bunch of fucking problems and can't find their ass from a hole in the ground, because that was me. And I know how much time I sucked down from like Squiz and Fuzzy Steve, and I appreciate it. I do not have that kind of time right now. I want to help you guys. I want to give you code. I do not want to debug your API queries. But that's because I'm a bit of a jerk. So the hope is we can get there. I'm actually shooting. We're going to talk. I still need to sit down with my dev guys. I would really love to target a November release for a website that actually has the reporting I want. If we can get, actually, I'd love to get a beta out during the summer doldrums. But that's my personal goals. The hope is that we can give you guys, we can help a lot more people look at the market data the way I look at the market data, and that should rise the skill ceiling in Eve. It'll get more people access to more of the data, and generally be good for everyone. So let me go ahead and turn off my fans so we don't get the in the frickin' thing that'll be a pain in the ass to edit out. And let's see what else. Oh, and if you want to support the show, like I said before, we do have the Patreon. It does go to advancing the show. It does keep the lights on, and yeah, it. What the fuck is in here? Oh, all that random shit. Okay. Keeps the lights on. It keeps the show going. It gives me. It holds me hostage so that I make this show and don't slack off. So I don't. Everything's done ad free except for the Patreon, which is my tip jar. So if you can give, please give. If you can't, just watch the show every week. Get your friends to watch the show. I do love seeing counters go up. We're not as high as we were last week, but that was because we were on the 07 show. So I sort of expect that. That not to come back. So let me go get one more tweet out for everyone, and we will get this show started. Holy cow, it is warm in here. This summer is going to fucking kill me. Yeah, so I guess that's the spiel. Show runs about 45 minutes. I don't tend to answer questions in the chat. I do see when you guys correct me, though. So I do try to give shout-outs when that happens. And if you guys have questions, feel free to put them in the chat at any time. We'll go over them during the post-show, which runs about 30 minutes. So otherwise, go get your friends. And I do know that it's that this isn't EU friendly, and if I picked an EU friendly time slot, I might actually get more people because EU people love the graphs a lot more than Americans for some reason. But let's press the buttons. I gotta press the buttons. Properties, that button, that button, that button, that button. That one, yeah, that one. And let's fix the... If I'm going to slouch that bad, you might as well get to see me. Alright. Even though I've got shadows like bullshit over here. Okay. Do. That is not the show. That is this one. We're this show. Not this show, this show. And don't forget to press record. Good evening and welcome to another episode of the Eve Prosper Market Show. I'm your host Lockefox and we're in for quite a week of market news. But before we do that, let's go ahead and talk about the show real quick. Again, if you guys want to watch the show live, the best time, the way to do that is to tune in at If you guys want to watch the show live, we're live every Friday at 0300 on both Twitch and YouTube. If you want to follow the show, the best way to do so is at Eve Prosper. That will get you to Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and the blog. Be sure to check in with us both on Twitter and on the Tweet Fleet Slack, where I post all the graph porn I make, so you guys can get some of that early before the show, or stuff that doesn't make it onto the show ends up there. Lastly, we're going to keep this real brief because we got a lot to go through this week. If you guys want to support the show, the best way to do so is through our Patreon. The show is provided ad-free as much as we possibly can every week, and it's our patrons that keep this show on the air. They pay for our license fees and our server space, and they keep they keep the show running week over week, so I got to thank them every week. If you guys want to hold me hostage to make more wonderful content, the best way to do so is at our Patreon. If you can't give, be sure to tune in every week and follow us and tweet us and get your friends to watch, because the more people who can watch the show, the more people this show reaches, the better I will feel. So let's go ahead and cut straight to the main show. And we're going to skip most of the news this week. I know it's World War B, and it's a fight of... it's a big fight between all of the propaganda makers, but there has not been a huge new set of fights that's a big turning point in the war. We're in the middle of the grind, which is fine, but there's just not a whole lot to talk about feature-wise. And CCP has been rather quiet this week, so we're going to skip most of the news and go right into Plex. Plex continues to be weak. We saw it weak last week when I gave my last forecast, saying a high target of 1.2 billion for FanFest, but we keep losing ground. Looks like there's some sales going on at the moment, and there might also still be some liquidity squeezes going on. To continue to see it so weak against this RSI line, holy shit, dipping under the 1.05 line on the way to 1.0. I don't like predicting downward trends in Plex, but we continue to see them. So I'd put a buy target. If we look at the year-long target, we've almost wiped out the entire spike we saw back in this last fall, when we rose from 900, from the billion mark-ish, up to 1.3 billion. So we continue to see this weakness. This is a lot weaker than I'd expect. We still see a lot of volume changing hands. And a shitty thing there. So let's fix that. And let's fix that. Okay. So if we look at the 1 year view, like I said, we're seeing a lot of weakness. We're seeing it hugging this bottom RSI line, which is uncharacteristically weak. We don't see this much downward pressure on Plex ever. It's a rather historic moment, to be completely honest. If we do the zoom in on supplies and demand, we're seeing that sell order volume is creeping up. We've gone from about a 2K stable line trending towards a 3K stable line on the sell order side. And buy order demand is slumping, losing about 50,000 units. So this is a recipe for prices to go even lower. Now, I know that people are going to want to get 1 billion-esque Plex, but everybody wants to get 1 billion-esque Plex. I think that's a reasonable floor. I have a hard time predicting anything below that or any sustained movement below that. But as we saw a few weeks ago, that buy orders just clipped 1 billion and the prices turned around. And we saw another dip a couple weeks ago, getting us really close to that line in a quick recovery. So I have a hard time believing that we'll actually crash through this billion-esque floor. But if we keep sell order demand above the 3K line, that could be a distinct possibility that we end up back at the 1 billion-esque stable line, which would completely blow all of my predictions and intuition out of the water. If we go ahead and look at the RMT token market, we continue to see that skill extractors are still leading slightly over their Plex parity. Again, the best place to go if you're buying money in. So this might actually be part of the problem, is that if you are paying money in to get ISK out, the best vehicle for that right now is to buy RM, turn it into extractors, sell the extractors. The return on investment given the bonus RM is significantly stronger than just about anything else. The Plex line continues to be weak, and we may be seeing more people converting through skill extractors than we do through Plex. I don't love that vehicle specifically because I would rather that dollars into ISK was a shorter line than dollars to RM to extractors to ISK, because I don't like that extra token in there. I don't like the broken parity line. I'd rather see RM be free floated more directly than through the Plex connection. But that's a rant for another night. We have too many graphs to get through tonight for me to start ranting again about how I want to see the RMT cycle changed. If we go ahead and look at skill injectors, again, we keep seeing an incredibly strong market for skill point farmers, especially with how weak the ISK costs are right now. That is just coming out 1-to-1 for the ISK per skill point valuation. Right now we are at just about 800 ISK per skill point, which is a great valuation if you're farming. This would be an excellent opportunity to turn on 3 characters and just suck skill points out of them, because you'd be making a good 500 million ISK between 3 characters, I believe. And we keep seeing very strong demand. We were seeing a weakness in the sell market, but we're now seeing that weakness go away. We're seeing orders climb to about the 3,000 mark. And if we look at skill injectors across all markets, again, we can see that they're a little bit weak because of the dips in Plex, but the price is staying very strong, even given the weakness in Plex. So these continue to be a great avenue for ISK in the short term. Moving on to minerals, we keep seeing titanium on a tear. It was at 6.4 last week, and I thought we'd level out there, and then it went completely bonkers and continued climbing up. We're seeing the volume stay much stronger than average, tracking up towards 20 billion units sold per week, per day, 20 billion units, which is up almost double the regular median. We're seeing prices climb to 6.8. I have a hard time believing they'll make it all the way to 7, but this is a pretty compelling trend in the meantime. It's a decent spot to buy in, but again, titanium I don't like speculating in. It takes a lot of skill to make sure you don't get screwed. And if we go ahead and zoom in on the market, we can see why titanium is so strong is because supplies are extremely weak at the moment. We've fallen from a peak of 30 billion units on the market down to under 5 billion units in the last week. That is recovering slightly into the weekend, but I would expect this constriction to be rather normal for the rest of the month, especially for savvy miners ahead of what could be Burn Jita. It traditionally happens in April or May. To have it drop right after FanFest is where I would put it if I were Ministry of Love. But we'll end up seeing if that actually pans out. Pyrite is our next one, and we've seen it climb up to 11.2 again, and then crash back down. It's a great time to be buying, like right this second. This is an extremely weak position, and I have a hard time believing it's going to stay that way. And again, if we zoom in, we can see that we saw some weakness in supply leading to a price price spike, and then as soon as the supply was back, the price came back down again. But I would believe that we'd be climbing right over that 11 mark right now, and we're at a great place at the live show to be buying in. If you're hearing this by Friday morning, Friday afternoon, it might be too late to get on this train specifically. I wouldn't want to get a buy order over 11, and I'd be targeting something like 11.4 as an exit, because I still think that the supply should be relatively stable in the meantime, but this weakness should be turning around like right this second. Moving on to Mexilon, this one's the one I love to predict on, and I love to be wrong on. We're seeing a lot of instability still, where we were down last week at 62. This week was climbing up to 66 and was crashing back down again. Again, we're still in a stable bound as far as deviation day to day, but we're at a particularly weak spot. So in the next couple of days might be a place to get on board. If we go ahead and zoom in, we're seeing this cycle of glut and shortage, where the weekends are hot and the weekdays are cold, and just a more extreme version over this last weekend. So this looks like a really good chance to be buying in here at the 60-something mark. See if the prices spike again over the weekend as this falls back down again, or this is the week that breaks the pattern. By the time I see a pattern, it tends not to repeat itself. So it's a little bit of a risky buy, but I think it's a decent buy right now where it's at. So get on a buy order, get it in at 59, 60, 61, and sell at target 65, 66 is what I would be looking at. Isogen continues to fall. We were staying relatively stable at 100 for the last while, but prices have slumped again. And I'm not really sure what's driving this, because we're not seeing a uptick in demand or a downtick in supply. The equation is staying relatively stable, but the prices keep sliding. So not really sure what to do to explain this particular weakness under 100. This puts it in buy territory for me if you need to stockpile as a producer, but I would not speculate on it, because the best you're going to make out of it is maybe 105, and I think you're going to have to wait quite a while to get that money back. Noxium. Now, Noxium, if you guys have been watching week over week, tends to be the one I get wrong the most. Between that and Morphite, I tend to screw the pooch on the predictions here. Noxium was up big time last week and then came back down to about 470. I expected it to stay stable at 470, and it just kept sliding down. We're down near 460 at the moment. Again, if we zoom in, we can see that there is this big supply spike in Noxium going on right now. Now, I don't think we're at the bottom of this, to be honest. 300 million's a pretty decent place, but sorry. As far as supply goes, 300 million units on the market is a pretty decent clip, in my opinion. But I think it can climb higher, especially if Imperium keeps losing space. We could see a lot of these high-end minerals coming back to market as people evac from the frontier. And I think the prices could fall even lower. So if you want to stockpile, I would put a target of 450, but I would also not expect this. Again, this is a alert for producers more than it is for speculators. I think it's a good chance to stock up if you need it, but I don't think it's a good chance to buy and hold, because I don't expect this price to turn around until maybe June at the earliest. Because I expect things to get I expect things to get worse before they get better. We'll be keeping a close eye on this to see if it falls any further, because going under this 450 line would be uncharacteristic. Moving on to Zydrine. Again, we're going to keep the trend that we saw the last few weeks, that We keep seeing weakness. We keep seeing high sell volumes. Again, I still think that people are coming out of nullsec and liquidating stockpiles. We can see that reflected big time here in the available units on the market, staying steady at 200 million units. I think this is going to drive the price even lower, but my bottom target is 1,000, and we still have a good 10% to fall before we get there. So this is going to be a long, slow fall, and I'd be watching for Burn Jita if it happens in May as a buy target to try and get in on this to ride the wave. Same story for Megasite. Again, we keep seeing weakness. We keep seeing it. It was stable at 1,200 and it's dropped down to 1,100. And again, we can see that supplies have almost tripled in the last 6 weeks. And that's just going to put more downward pressure here. I think we're closer to the floor here on Megasite. But they have been, Megasite and Zydrine have been lockstep for the last while. So no reason not to believe that that trend will continue. And then last, even though the scales are a little bit washed out here, Morphite continues to be somewhat strong, tracking up slightly. If we zoom in, we're seeing, again, a glutton supply, but I think that the activity in the Tech 2 market is going to suck up some of this supply. So if you are needing to stockpile, getting in on one of these buy orders is probably not a bad idea. But again, that's an alert for producers more than speculators. If you're buying in, I would put a sell target of 11K, but that might take more time than you really have to go get this sold off. So this one's, again, another weak market to be speculating in. Moving on to fuel. Same story we've seen the last few weeks. Nitrogen has been regaining some of its strength. We still see a lot of strength in the hydrogen isotope market, again, due to the prevalence of Death Star towers. We were seeing some upward trends the last few weeks in Amar towers, which are popular for staging, but that trend seems to have weakened in the last while. So we may not be seeing as many incursions as Money Badger goes ahead and fortifies its gains before pushing forward. They may have won too far too fast to be able to appropriately stage in those new systems. So that might be reflective there. Again, looking at fuel blocks, we see the same thing mirrored. We're seeing a little bit extra weakness in the Amar fuel blocks, a little bit of extra strength in the Minmatar fuel blocks, and a little bit of extra weakness in the Caldari fuel blocks. Zooming in on nitrogen, the prices are tracking up because supplies are slumping again. Now, so I said this last week, and I'll say it again this week, and I'll probably say it again and again. Nitrogen isotopes are a bit of my tinfoil hattery. If you guys wanted to be, if you guys wanted to get on a Gurgoons or a or whatever, trying to profiteer off of guessing a second or third order thing, I think CFC has some very strong stockpiles of nitrogen sitting in reserve, and I think that. And I might be wrong. Those strategic reserves may have been burned off during the last year, trying to get last 6 months trying to get things researched. But I still think that that's going to be one of their go-tos when things hit the rocks. That we might see another spike in nitrogen isotope supply. So this being as high as it is, it's a great chance to sell. But I think that there's a lot of material being held up. Now that Money Badger is holding Veil of the Silent and Tribute, I do expect some of that supply to get unleashed. But that does require people to be mining and not fighting, and it's not a good time to be mining when you're busy trying to take the entire the entirety of the western map from the CFC. So it may be a while before this really turns around, and we may continue to be in this weak spot of 100 million units on the market. So that's my tinfoil for the week, is nitrogen isotopes. I think they're going to be in for a big crash, but I just don't know when. And then strontium continues to stay strong. This is expected due to not just the fuel block changes, which is what our original push to 4K was, but also Intosis demand and demand in capitals. I think the prices are rather ridiculous at the moment, being at 6K, nearly 6K. So if you can sell, do sell. I haven't seen a good chance to buy in again, unfortunately. Because every time we get to one of these plateaus, I think that's the top plateau when we're going to come crashing back down to 4K or something. So we're at this plateau at 5.5, and we might just get right back to 6 instead of going down to 4.5. Again, supplies are staying relatively stable in the 5 million unit range. So, and buy orders are just ridiculous at the moment. So that might be part of the problem at the moment. And last but not least, let's go ahead and move on to Outliers. We got a lot of good ones this week. So let's start where we always do, with the advanced materials. I'm going to repeat what I said last week, which is get out of Galente metamaterials. We saw that crashed pretty hard, especially with the Ishtar liquidation. Crystalline carbonide was also pretty weak in that period. The place to go put that then is to go into the Caldari materials. So I want to say it's nonlinear, and your titanium carbide are both very strong at the moment and continue to climb. I expect, again, titanium to come down in the upcoming weeks as Money Badger solidifies its hold in places that were CFC, and I expect them to oversupply titanium once they get properly situated, but that could take several weeks. We're seeing a lot of demand on nonlinear metamaterials, though, so and we're going to go over that when we get down to it. It's all because of the Cerberus, I believe. And if we go ahead and zoom in, cadmium is on a big dive. Again, we should be seeing this, a new supply coming to market. So if you needed cadmium, go ahead and stock up. This is a price alert for you, Ashtarothi. You should go stock up on cadmium. Dysprosium, we did see a spike and a dip. Again, this is, I think, due to moons changing hands and more material coming to the market. This should be volatile for the next while, but I expect us to be back at a stable equilibrium here soon, just because I think this is just a constriction due to moons changing hands. Moving on to PI4, level 4 PIs. Again, it's this. I'm going to repeat what I've been saying the last few weeks. Look for an off ramp, to be completely honest. Things are unstable at the moment as people are liquidating positions to participate in World War B and to go ahead and build their own citadels. So there's a lot of noise in the market. Which means there's a lot of opportunities for some more short-term investments. As you can see, like on nanofactories, we see strong weekends and weak weekdays. We see a similar pattern here on self-harmonizing power cores and recursive computing modules. This noise is a great chance to be making some money, but it's going to take a deft hand, and you're going to have to be on the ball to go make the money. I'd be chopping some of the more extremes off these peaks and picking an exit and just putting up the units at like if I were selling sterile conduits, for instance, I'd be putting like half of my stash up at 2 million and another quarter at 2.25, and another quarter at like 2.5, and hope that one of these weekend buyouts comes and blasts through my order before crashing down again. So that's what I'd be doing. I know a lot of people want to hold until Citadel releases, thinking that there's going to be a lot more constriction, but I don't think there's going to be as much as I had originally predicted, because Citadel is about 3 months later than I predicted. So that surprise shock of not having enough PI4s to get into to actually build these things, I don't think is going to be true on day 0. So I'd be looking for an off-ramp. Moving on to ships, we're back at my favorite indicator bombers, and they are strong. You can be, if you were on the ball this last weekend, you could be making 30 million a unit with all this World War B stuff going on. Again, producers are meeting demand again. We're back down to 25 million across the board, but again, I'd be keeping in there if I were a producer, because weekend warriors, they need their equipment and they need it now. So I don't know if you're going to get back up to 30 specifically, unless you're really playing the market really close. But it's a great chance to go be turning the Tech 2 market around. Also, in the interceptor market, another great indicator of nullsec activity, we are seeing blips across the board, again crossing that 30 million threshold, and the Raptor going even higher, some selling for 50 million ISK in the meantime. This is, again, a great chance to go be making a quick buck. If you're a Tech 2 producer, you almost can't guess wrong on any of these. People are needing them, and they need them they're in very high demand. And then the story of 2 ships here, between the Cerberus, which has gone from relatively popular at 2 million a unit, 200 million a unit. Holy crap, I can't even talk. Cerberus going from a steady 200 million and peaking up to 250 million, but losing ground as producers come up to meet it. And then the Ishtar, which was staying relatively strong and has taken a big nosedive down to parity and maybe even a little bit lower. So it's a great time to be building Cerberuses. It's a bad time to have an Ishtar. And we can go ahead and zoom in on that. Again, we can see that big buyouts as Money Badger Coalition refits with Cerberuses. Supplies are tracking up. As you can see, the buyouts may have bottomed out in the 100 unit marks, but suppliers are really racing to fulfill the needs. So we're up to north of 600 units on the market at the moment, which is great news if you wanted to buy low. If you needed a replacement, I would be buying before Friday, and because I expect another dip as 200 more of these things get off the shelves, and the price spikes back up over 240 million. And then the Ishtar, again, we can see that the supplies keep climbing, right now at 400 units on the market. And I would expect this to just stay stable at the price it's at 170 million. It's going to be hard to go much lower without materials going lower. But you know, as the CFC loses space and they lose the opportunity to use those ISKTARs, the Ishtar is falling in price. Now, if you are on the Money Badger Coalition and you expect to be set up in one of those cushy places like Veil of the Silent or Fade or Pure Blind or any of those great places, you might want to go stock up on some Ishtars so that when your bros want to go ratting, you guys can kill all the Garistas in style. Moving on to the Gila. The Gila is an interesting one. We brought it up last week that it was climbing. It's been a popular PvP ship. It showed up in our top 10 filter for 2 weeks now. And the price is at a local minimum, it looks like. We're at 200 million as of this posting, and I think it's a decent buy. We can see that Supplies have been getting constrained, and if you again believe that nobody is harvesting this stuff, nobody is ratting, I expect new supplies of Gilas to get constrained. So I think this is a great chance to buy in. Sorry, Blake, I'm ruining your speculation, but I got to give this one to my guys at sub 200 million, especially if you can get on one of those buy orders. I think this is a great chance to jump in with a target of 220 at least. You can make 10% without a whole lot of effort. I don't know where the top of this may go, and we may see some more instability. I might be overestimating how constrained the Garista ratting supply becomes, but I think that it's a popular ship. It's been blown up a lot in PvP lately, and the supplies are in for quite a shock in the next few weeks. So I'm putting a big buy around the Gila. Moving on, the Macarial. Again, this one has been a popular one for the Goonswarm meta in the Imperium. And so there's a bit of weirdness going on. Looks like somebody bought out every single unit on the market, trying to spike the price. And it looks like it's doing a little bit of good, staying north of 460 at the moment. But I don't expect this. I expect this to come right back down to its 450 mark in the next couple of days. Though the demand for Macarials is high and rather constant, the supply has had no trouble keeping up. So I think it's foolish to go try and reset the market, because I think there's plenty of Macarials coming to market to backfill that supply and not keep the prices as high as you were hoping. Also, please never do this. I've never seen this sort of buy out every unit to reset the price ever work. If it's worked for you in Jita, I would love to hear the story. I don't believe you. I don't think this has ever worked without it being like OTEC. So the people who think they can reset the price are foolish and don't really understand just how inelastic the supply is. Moving on to the Svipul. This has been a popular warfront machine with its sniping capabilities and how slippery it is. And the prices had stayed relatively strong at 50 million, just staying steady there despite supplies. But we've seen a uptick in demand, diminishing supplies rather strongly, perhaps ahead of a new offensive on the World War B front, and the prices are up to 52 million. So I know it's not a huge bump, but if you're a Svipul producer, this is money in your pocket. So I don't know how long that will stay. I expect volumes to recover by Saturday or Sunday, but the prices should stay over 52 for the next 24, 48 hours. Then last, I believe we're going to look at the Entosis links. Again, we're seeing it stay very strong at, especially on the Tech 2 market. Not much to say as far as that goes. It's really expected. I do need to fix the scales on here so they don't look like hot garbage. These are a great thing to be building. The Entosis Link 2s. The Entosis Link 1s are tracking up slightly, but I think that has more to do with the underlying parts more so than the actual demand for Entosis Links, because you're going to want to use an Entosis 2 if you if you get any option if you get any vote in the show. And then we're going to move on to one of the last sections of the show, the prediction review, where we find out if I know what the hell I'm talking about. And I had said a couple of weeks ago that customs office gantries were tracking up. I believe this was a war on Eve Uni. I don't remember. And supplies had got constricted. It was a great chance to cash out, and that's what the market did. We saw it crash back down to the 100 million mark and bounce back up again to its steady state. They're still slightly high, but I think the action is mostly over. Next, one that we've been tracking rather closely, Quaff Zero. I had expected this to rebound after Garister stopped, which should be a little right around April 4th here. But prices have stayed weak and supplies have stayed strong. So again, I like stocking up on this stuff. I think it's a useful booster to have in supply. If you're buying in, I'd have a target to sell at 8 million just to get back to the steady state. But know that I think that there's room to speculate in here, because I don't think they're going to be generating more Quaff Zero in a NPC event, at least until June 1st. I think that May is going to be rather quiet on the in-game event calendar, and we won't see anything until the start of June. But that's just me and my tinfoil hat. I got nothing to back that up. Geckos, again, keeping a close eye on these. We expect them to be weak because of, one, Garister, and two, the phasing out of normal drones in carriers that's coming up in Citadel in just a few weeks. So if you guys aren't out of this market, just don't look. The prices aren't going to get any better for months, over a year. This is going to be a bad market to be watching. So I feel sorry for you if you guys have geckos. I don't have any good news. It's a good chance to stockpile if you think things are going to go anywhere. But I don't know what to tell you guys. And then my personal favorite is jump freighters, but this is just because I'm self-indulgent. We're seeing demand on the Rhea and the Anshar ticking up rather significantly. Arc and Nomad are staying relatively stable. And the interesting thing was that the Rhea triggered the PvP filter for top 10 destruction by value, total destruction by value, not including super capitals, in the last 10 days. So a couple of people lost some very big Reyes, and the price is tracking up to as they go try to backfill their mistakes. So we're seeing a slight downtick in supply, a slight uptick in demand. I just thought it was funny that Reyes tracked my PvP filter. So, and speaking of PvP filter, we have a violence report. Like I said last week, we actually have the damn thing because I've gone ahead and started using the Z Killboard data. Still not in love with these graphs, and I got to get them out of the Easter colors. But top 10 most active ships, we can see those Rhea losses. That's not Reyes. Those are Svipples. Svipple losses are tracking up. Again, you can see that demand is stacking up, where the Cerberus is relatively strong and the Macarial is also pretty strong. Destruction by value, you can see some of the Ishtars poking out. But again, because this is all in a weird spectrum, they're a little bit hard to read, so sorry about that. Zooming in on most active regions, we can see Pureblind, Quirius, and Tribute are top in the charts this week, keeping pace with Black Rise and the Citadel, which are always at the top of the charts. And for active systems, we're still seeing a lot of activity in MTAC-O, and A2 TAC V are very popular systems, and Uedama and Tama are to be expected, because those are always, again, at the top of the charts. But with that, we're going to go ahead and end the show. I want to thank everybody who tuned in live. Looks like we had quite a Twitch turnout this week, so thanks everybody who tuned in live. If you want to catch the show live, you can catch us at 0300 Friday nights. That's late night. That's Thursday U.S. time. Sorry. That's Thursday night U.S. time. If you want to follow the show, all you got to remember is Eve Prosper. That will get you to Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and the blog. If you want to interact with me directly, the best place to do so is on our Tweet Fleet Slack channel, Prosper, which information to join is down in the doobly-doo below. And if you want to support the show, the very best way to do so is through our Patreon. Our patrons keep the show on the air, free of ads, week over week. They get us, they keep improving the hardware behind the show. They keep the licenses and rack space running for running the back end of the show. So if you can give, please do. If you want to buy the team a beer or two, we really do appreciate it. And if you can't support us, be sure to spam your favorite channels with all of the wonderful Prosper news. Follow us on all of our platforms and go ahead and tune in every week. We will be here again next week, same time, same channel. Again, I've been your host, Lockefox. This has been the Eve Prosper Show, and I will see you all next week. Oh, that was a bit of a manic show. I thought I was going to run out of time, so I went blasting through all my freaking graphs. We had almost 60 this week. Almost 60 slides. So, made some decent progress. But yeah, I did not expect as many Twitch viewers as we had. I looked at it at the start of the show, and I'm like, oh, it's 20, whatever. It's a bit of a quiet week this week. And I looked at it near the end, and I'm like, holy shit, there's 60 people watching. Hi, I'm good at graphs and stuff. So, thanks everybody who tuned in. Sorry if you guys missed the start of the show. We should be up on VOD pretty soon. So you guys can go catch it there. I should edit it tonight. We'll see how late the post show goes. I didn't see any good questions. Oh man, I should have, well, it doesn't have enough data to actually show that. So thanks again for everybody tuning in. Just the quick FAQ. Graphs are generated using R. Most of the sources are linked in the doobly-doo, at least on Twitch. I don't know if they're linked on YouTube. The data sources, you can get the Crest ones for free. Those ones are free and open, but our data is not, because I don't like I don't want to make an API. It's going to take way too much effort. And I got so much to do. We're working on it. Diana Olympos is a fiend and should be working on some of the infrastructure to make that possible. Okulu, I never know how to say your name, is talking about the new carrier modules, new capital modules seem to have been released sneakily. I haven't been following those because if it's less than 45 days, it's really hard to chart. If it's less than 15 days, it's really hard to. I can't do the candlesticks because it complains about the simple moving average. What else is there? Thanks, Jake Draws. I'm always worried against real traders that I'm just faking it, and you guys are all going to find out. But I didn't see. I think a lot of the Tech 2 material shakeups are more to do with Tech 2 ship demand than the capital stuff, because the capital stuff isn't strictly useful yet. But it will be once Citadel hits, so we may see more get into that. I really think the constriction is like there was a huge price spike in nonlinear metamaterials, and I'm calling it right now. It was straight into Cerberuses and Raptors and Manticores. I describe the show to people who don't play Eve as Mad Money with none of the enthusiasm. Because there's just no way sober that I could be that obnoxious as Jim Cramer. All right, I'm sorry. This is bad form, but I'm going to turn on the frickin' fan again. It's cooking in here. I did see the C-type spike, but I usually don't highlight that during the show. I don't love talking about those high-end C-types and A-types. I did see them flag. I just usually ignore them. Hey, I feel really good about that Gila advice. Watch me eat my shoe next week. And the last time I came up with a really good pump and dump, it made a lot of money for people. Last time I predicted a big spike, the market spiked big time. So. Let's see. Megathrons. I don't think I saw Megathrons, but let me go pull the thing. You guys can see me do this the boring way. That's not the right one. The exciting world of ls minus rl contents.text. Oh. Finding Megathron. Megathron, it did flag. What did it flag? Volume. It flagged for volume. And it only flagged for volume. This is again where I haven't been looking at the volume flags, and stuff has been happening there that I really should be talking about. Like, that should have been in the show. Bomb launchers should have been in the show. Megathron, where are you? Huh? Yeah, I should have brought up Megathrons. Wonder why they didn't flag, Wonder why that didn't trigger the thing. Huh. They do love their Megathrons. And if Megathrons are spiking, I bet that the neutron blaster cannons are too, because they do not do well. Either that or the 425 rails. Let's go take a look. Neutron blaster cannon 2s. We did flag in the... that was a -1.5. Okay. So I didn't get down into that one, but -2, -1.5. Neutron blaster cannon 2s. That's not it. Fine. 425 millimeter. Where did those flag? Volume 1.5. Yep, I should have called that. So here we are in post-show talking about how wrong I am. Because my stuff isn't sensitive enough. So, mea culpa, I should have picked that out. That's a great investment thing. I'd be building 425mm railguns if I were in that. So, Loud Noises is asking about pyrite. I never remember what I say because this isn't on script. It's a I improv from the graphs. Pyrite. So did I say buy pyrite? I hope I didn't say buy pyrite, because I go and zoom into this shit. Well, you should be buying in pyrite at 10.5. Less than 10.5. I think that's the floor. It was rising during the show. And a target of 11.2 isn't a great margin, but especially if you get on the buy orders. I think the buy order margin, especially if you buy in at this sub 1075 and shoot for any price over 11, was going to be a decent way to do it. I don't love speculating in the low ends because you have to be really on top of things not to get screwed. And I tend not to be, so I don't love telling people to do things. Let's see. What else? So they finally gave me a name placard at work, and I was sad that it actually had my title on it because I wanted to change it to graph pornographer. Yeah, sorry on the pyrite. The pyrite's a weird one. But that sub 11 price should be able to at least make fees back. Because I think during the weekend we'll get above 11 to at least 11.1. 11.4 would be amazing, but that's a pretty high target to hit. So sorry about that. I may have misspoke. I may have got my graphs in a wrong order again. I like the quaff. I really do feel strongly about quaff that it's going to that we have at least 60 days until the next time we see quaff coming out of the system in terms of events. So I feel at least decent about that. I might be totally wrong though. So. I am hoping, though, in the next couple of weeks, I have a decent amount of... Loud Noises asked if I discussed this with my employer. The guy who wrote half of the underlying code at this moment is the guy who hired me. So, yeah, we did talk about it. My coworkers think I'm a turbo nerd, but that's nothing new. And the nice thing is that I get to do the sort of thing that I was doing here on the show and was doing at the last job, but they wouldn't give me the time to do it. So on my to-do list is to build a data warehouse with a decent API to get data in and out of it, which I need to do for here. Build a reporting structure that's adaptive and automatic so that when devs look at reports about statistics, they actually get the most important information at the top, and it auto filters according to importance and so that the devs can get at the information and it actually means something. And building new visualizations for weird data, which again is the name of the game in this show. So I get to it's totally dream job territory. Hoagie the Ogre, Hoagie the Ogie, Hoagie the Rogie. I didn't see the R. Go dyslexia. Is asking, what do you think the changes on the market are going to do? We should see an expansion of the margins between buy and sell prices, I think. I don't love the new tax system. I've ranted about it before. Diana Olympos likes to troll me by putting VAT in channels, and then I have to rant at him about how much I hate VAT systems, VAT taxes. I think they're shitty. But that's because I'm an American and we don't like taxes at all. I don't love the tax. I understand why they're doing it. It's probably going to be okay in the long run, but it means that the rich get richer and the lower end pay more taxes and don't understand why they're losing money. I think this is really bad news for the mine to minerals are free crowd, that kind of thing. So EEP claims to have made about 5 to 6 trillion from I Want ISK. So I Want ISK's numbers are you're gonna have to ask Noisy Gamer, to be completely honest. So the actual winnings that are coming through there, I think, are incestuous to the point that I think only maybe 20% of the numbers are real numbers. But I mean, I've talked with I Want ISK bankers at eVegas, and I've known people who are really into the gambling scene, and there is just a obnoxious amount of money coming out of there. And I wish I had a better handle on exactly what was going on there, because I still think that the numbers seem too high to be real, is just the way to put it. But I don't know. If you have RMT, then I guess the sky's the limit. Hoagie the Rogie, the trading between Jita and Amar is not a bad plan. You just have to be on top of it. And the places I liked trading were in advanced materials, so that's your nanotransistors, your phenolic composites, that kind of thing. The high-end meta market is not bad between the two, because it turns out a lot of wormhole gear comes through. A lot of wormholers come through Amar. They don't go all the way to Jita. The ship markets can be pretty decent if you're on top of your game. It's a great way to amplify predictions, because the swings in Amar tend to be a bit higher than the swings in Jita. I've had trouble coming up with good tools to do the arbitrage real time. because there are a lot of people watching for it. But with less than 1 billion, I think you can actually do some work there. You just have to be on top of things and be checking it every day and be adapting to whatever the thing of the day is. And don't ship your own stuff. Get Red Frog or PushX to move it. But you can. I've done that before with a surprisingly small starting purse, and made a lot more money than I really should have. Doing that. Like, I put 1 billion ISK into moving moon materials around, and I was making 20% like a week off of that. Like, I doubled my investment in 10 days, and I felt like I was hacking the system. The other option is the low sec jump in points. If you're already in a MAR, getting out to Providence is not a bad idea. If you're in Caldari space, I like places like Norvik and Ichioria and Torinos, and there's one other one I can't remember the name of. Are all pretty decent places, especially if you're looking to amplify some production things. That's the way I used them in the past. Was I was producing Tech 2, and I would sell them for higher margin in these spoke markets. It was a good way to get a little more bang for my buck when I was smaller time. So, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity there. The other one is to get out to places like low sec hubs, like your Nenemalia, your Hysera. Not Hysera. I always want to say it's Hysera. It's not Hysera. It's right next to the frickin' thing, but right next to Old Man Star. Another good one. Valor is another good one to be targeting if you want to get on those. And then if you're in faction warfare, I'm a big fan of selling pre-fitted ships to Corpies, but you do have to kick their ass into telling them why you are charging so much. But I can give you ammunition for that if you ever want to get into it. Ooh, I don't know if I'd go out to Saranan. Do I think Imperium will fall? At the start of this war, I would have said no, that they would have just retreated to their fortresses and sat it out. But the new Sov system is not friendly to them, and they have pissed off a lot of people. So the rate that they're losing space is alarming. I worry that if you snuff out the Imperium, we're going to have the same problem we've had since the Halloween War, where without two big bads going against each other, the game just sort of farts itself to death, right? Like, there's nothing to do. And as much as I would really love to see Matani's shit-eating grin as they get kicked into low sec and lose all of the stuff they've been sitting on for 5 or 6 years, I don't know what. I don't know where they're going to end up. Like, I have a hard time saying that they're going to have to retreat down into Delve or Quirius or any of those southern places. The fact that they had VFK threatened as hard as it was troubling. I don't know if VFK actually fell. I thought there'd be a lot more propaganda if that happened. But there is a lot of they've been sitting on the most valuable space in the game for years, and to have that pulled from underneath them, it's a lot of space to try and hold. So to try and in a unified front hold all of the Vale and Tribute and that whole east or western side of the map is a tall order. But so I think that the Money Badgers are going to be spread thin, and it's going to give a lot of opportunity for people to start taking pot shots at them, which is fine. I'm more than happy to see like Vale turn into a war zone, because that's some pretty primo space. But I don't know if they're going to end up in Quirius, or if they're going to end up in Delve, or if they're going to end up in truly low sec and go the PL route, which I'd really rather not see, because PL being space smug and not holding space kind of pisses me off. Why do people read Gevlon? He's a trash bucket. He always has so much to say, and I just, yeah. What is this even? No, I've never been in PL. I was in CFC for a while. I did the Fountain War with Gents. Gentleman's Agreement. One point 3 billion cycles, plateauing, Tech 2 rigs. Oh, so for Indy, I like to say if you're doing Tech 2, so do Tech 2, because that's really worth the time. You can start at 500 million, and then that scales all the way up to about 5 billion a character. You can even get it a little bit higher than that. The thing I have done in the past is to make sure that you're watching the entire Tech 2 market and adapt to what's going on. So the things to get onto, like this week, if you can get into bombers, especially with decryptors, is a great place to put in a ton of cash if you've got it. That can suck down a good amount of cash and really be making some decent returns for your effort. Watching the weapons markets, so things like ballistic control units right now, and heavy missile launchers, and 425 millimeter railguns are going to be great places to put more money through the machine. Watching rigs is not a bad way to go. I'm a little green when it comes to rigs, because I had a hard time committing to the kind of volumes I wanted to build. Rapid lights is a good one, again, like Oakloo says. So I think it's just a matter of understanding. Go research decryptors and look at ships. Look at your Tech 2 frigates. Is a great chance to make a buttload of money if you are able to churn out a lot of volume. No. Hoagie, you're thinking jump freighters and capitals. I don't like telling people to get into capitals, because the upfront investment is absolutely obnoxious and the returns are definitely not worth it. Unless you are inheriting blueprints, I think is a waste of time. I love producing jump freighters, but that is a very tough market to be producing in. You need to be really at the top of your production game to be making money in jump freighters. Every percentage point counts when you're producing something that's 7 billion-esque. So, and not all the rigs have crap volume. As long as you're watching out, there should be plenty of chances to diversify. As long as you're watching for the stuff that really does consume the most volume. So your capacitor control rigs, some of the weapon rigs, even though the margins on those are crap. Hyperspatial velocity rigs are not bad, but again, it's a matter of making sure that your finger's on the pulse week to week. And again, I've been out. I haven't done a ton of production since Creus. It's been hard to get. It came at a time where I ran out of time to really do the heavy industry things. So Trimarks are another good one. Look at the other sizes. There are other things you can do to make sure you're maximizing throughput on each of the sizes. But yeah, just find more ways to pump more ISK through the system, and that it just takes the right tool for the job. I had big spreadsheets, and then Creus made those spreadsheets break themselves. Oh yeah, if you're doing capitals, you have to have a Thucker array or high grade nullsec Amar station. If you're doing it anywhere else, you're going to lose money. It's a waste of your time. But the Thucker labs aren't that expensive, and again, you can make money doing it. It's just the blueprint investment is such a shit show. So I hate to tell someone like, oh, you need to go get 10 billion ISK so you can go make 100 million ISK a ship or 200 million ISK a ship on a line that costs you 3 billion a week, so you can make your 10%. Like, it's just so much work and so much risk, and it fucking sucks. It's the capital market's bullshit unless you have a whole group of puppies feeding you cheap minerals out on the frontier. Like, that's the only reason capitals make any sense, is if you're out in frontier nullsec and you can get 10% off your minerals and you can get them compressed and do all that shit locally out there in the middle of nowhere. So the Tech 2 production stuff I think is way better. I really liked guns when I was doing them, especially now. The 425mm rail guns should be really worth your time. And you can produce like 600 a week out of those. That'll absorb a little over $1 billion. The bombers, I love producing bombers. You can get a whole lot of those through the system pretty easily. Interdictors aren't bad, but they tend to be a little bubbly. Pun unintended. The smaller Tech 2 ships, I think, are really the crown of the show. And then if you really have ISK to burn and you're really on top of it, heavy assault cruisers and some of the bigger ships in small batches can make some pretty decent money. Get that? Interdictors, they're bubbly. Yeah. All right, looks like we're reaching the end of my my time allotment here. Feel free to stop by the Prosper channel to come bug me. There's also SCC-Lounge in the Tweet Fleet Slack that is another great place for speculators. Also Manufacturum. We got a lot of great channels over there to talk with people who are really in the know. So come join us on the Tweet Fleet Slack. Information to join is down in the thing. I'm going to go try and get the edit done this week because I've been getting yelled at on Twitter and direct message about getting the stuff out. Again, we'll be back next week, 0300. I might move the show back an hour in the intervening weeks. We'll see where things go. We also might do something weird for FanFest. I'm, again, not sure. So keep tuned to all the places. Keep tuning into the show. Follow me on Twitter and all the places for Eve Prosper, and come to join the Tweet Fleet Slack. I am going to go and edit or play Rocket League. Probably play Rocket League because I'm really bad. So